In the second video, we're going to put it all together. So everything we did in the first video, let's put it all together into it, looking at an actual problem. So first we're going to just wrap it up with what we were doing. We were taking, these are samples from my population over and over again, maybe doing an opinion poll. Do you like, do you not like? Putting that into multiple samples, and then each one of those samples are represented by a dot as to their proportion of successes from that sample. Our standard deviation, you can see the calculation here, one standard deviation from the mean, and our mean should, over all of these samples, end up being centered around our population mean. Now, I want to stress one thing, and I believe we talk about this later on, but your population does not need to be normally distributed for this to work. So it doesn't matter what shape the distribution of the population is, these samples will always center around the population's mean, no matter whether it's skewed or has a weird shape, has no distinguishable shape. It does not matter. This is a very, very simple sounding question, but you really have to think about what they're asking here. Of all cars on the interstate, 80% exceed the speed limit. What proportion of speeders might we see? And that's the key right there, among the next 50 cars. So might would also be maybe the same as typical. And when you think about typical, we usually think about standard deviation. So it's kind of asking within one or two standard deviations, how many cars would we expect to see? Okay, so step one, in a sample of 50 cars, how many will be found within one or two standard deviations from the mean? And a note that yes, AP readers do accept SD to stand for standard deviation, so they'll understand what you mean and you don't have to write it out. Next is, second step is plan. The plan is where we check all of our conditions that we learned on the first page. All right, the first one, the random check, I'm not going to lie, we are going to have to stretch right here. We're going to have to assume that the next 50 cars we see are a random selection of our population. It's a lot of assumption. You do want to possibly in your final answer state something about that, because we can ensure real randomization. These, this is not a strong conclusion, something about that, and we'll do that in our conclusion. But for right now, we're going to assume it, and this is going to kill many of you, that we have to assume, we have to show we did this check, and just roll with it. So just play with me here. This is just to show you the steps for now. All right, step two is the 10% rule for independence. It is safe to definitely assume that 50 cars is less than 10% of all the cars on this interstate. So we do have independent events. And finally, the third, the large counts. All right, so for large counts, we're predicting 80%. If 80% exceed the speed limit, our sample size is 50, and we can see that that is going to equal 40, which is greater than or equal to 10. So that one checks out, but you have to check both directions. So if I have 0.2, which is our complement times 50, that equals exactly 10, but the rule says it has to be greater than or equal to 10, so we are good. Very close to the edge, but we're okay. Finally, you must state this right now. What did these conditions check? Folks, I know some of you are going to be super stubborn on this and not want to do all these steps and not state that this means the normal conditions are met. If you don't state that, make that statement on your paper, then you have just wasted your time doing those checks. We have to say, hey, I did these checks to show that I can now do a normal approximation, and that brings us to the do step. We start the do with stating our mean and our standard deviation of our sample. So we know the mean is the same as our population, that's 0.8. The sample is the square root of 0.8 times 0.2 all over 50, which equals 0.057. Our next step, we're going to draw our normal curve. Put your proportion in the middle here, and we're trying to find how many cars are going to be 1 to 2 standard deviations away from our mean, so we can use our empirical rule here. We can see that 68% of our distribution falls between the 0.743, 1 standard deviation below, and 0.857, 1 standard deviation above. What we want to do is kind of figure out a range here. So within 1 standard deviation, we've got about 37 to 42 cars we would expect to be speeding. So what that means is 68% of our observations, 68% of the time, we should see somewhere between that range. So let's see, what if we want to look up at a bigger range at 2 standard deviations, that 95%. We can see our 95% range gives us between 34 to 45.7. We are ready to conclude this. So, conclusion, it's a mouthful. It is reasonable to expect 68% of observations like this would find 37.15 to 42.85 cars were speeding, and 95% of observations would find 34 to 45.7 cars speeding. And this is, of course, we can put that little note there about assuming randomization is ensured. So we're putting a lot on this. Now, I'm going to make one small thing here at the end. This seems like a lot. Don't panic. This is just an example. I've never seen anything like this as vague on the AP exam. This was really just an exercise to go through all of the steps to show you how detailed you do need to be on the AP exam. But I don't think I've ever seen anything quite this difficult. So let me know what you think. Let me know if you have any big questions here. I know this was a lot for you.